It was supposed to be a routine maintenance call. So why the hell was I standing in my kitchen, heartbeat in my throat, watching a stranger with calloused hands make me feel more seen than my ex did in 5 years? That morning, the pipes under my kitchen sink had finally given up, probably in solidarity with the rest of my life. Residency at St. Luke's was eating me alive, my sleep-deprived brain barely functioning, and the last thing I needed was a leak flooding my tiny apartment. But when I opened the door, I wasn't ready for him. He wore a navy work shirt clinging just right to his chest, the kind of man you'd expect to see on the cover of a blue-collar romance novel, except this wasn't fiction. There was a wrench in his hand, tattoos sneaking out from his sleeves, and eyes the color of wet asphalt after rain, serious, a little sad, and unreadable. "A plumber?" he asked, unsure if he had the right door. "Doctor," I replied without thinking. We stared. He smirked, and I hated how fast I smiled back. His name was Mason, 28, independent contractor, hated working in high-rises because rich people never say thank you, liked black coffee, hated peppermint, said he used to box in high school, used words like fixin' to without irony. Every time he spoke, I found myself forgetting how tired I was. He worked quietly, wiping sweat off his brow with the back of his arm. I sat on the floor, sipping bad coffee, pretending to review patient charts. "Mind if I ask something personal?" he said, tightening a bolt. "Only if I can pretend I'm not dying of curiosity too." He chuckled. "Why do you look like you haven't slept in a week?" "Because I haven't. Welcome to residency." He didn't laugh. He just looked at Miral. I looked at me and nodded like he understood. Later, as he packed his tools, he asked, "Ever heard of eating dinner before midnight?" I blinked. "Why?" "Because I'm fixin' to make spaghetti and I make too much. And, Doc, you look like you could use a home-cooked meal." That first dinner was quiet but not awkward. I learned he lived 2 floors down. We talked about terrible landlords and worse hospital food. He listened when I ranted about patients who died no matter how hard we tried. I listened when he talked about growing up in a foster system that taught him to never expect anything permanent. We both had our cracks. Neither of us tried to hide them. Over the next few weeks, he came up again, first to fix a broken shower knob, then a flickering light, then a shelf I could have sworn didn't need fixing. Each time, he lingered a little longer. Each time, I let him, until one night, while the rain tapped at the windows and we sat side by side on the worn-out couch, his shoulder brushed mine and neither of us moved away. "I don't usually do this," I whispered. "What? Let guys like me in?"
"No."
"Let anyone in." He looked at me, his eyes soft but unreadable. "Then I'll be careful with whatever part of you I'm holding." I didn't kiss him that night, but I wanted to. God, I wanted to. When it finally happened, it wasn't fireworks or slow-mo movie scenes. It was messy and real and achingly quiet. I'd just come back from a 36-hour shift, covered in someone else's blood, half broken from losing a teenage boy on the table. Mason was already in the apartment, fixing my busted heater like it was just another Tuesday. I walked in and dropped to the floor, unable to say anything. He knelt beside me. "I couldn't save him," I croaked. "You're not supposed to save everyone. That's the job." "No," he said, touching my wrist. "The job is showing up anyway." I broke, right there on the tiles. He held me like I was something fragile and valuable, like he knew what it was to lose and keep walking anyway. Then, without asking, he kissed me. Not to silence me, not to own me, just to be there. And I let him. But life doesn't stay soft forever. Not when trauma lives in your bones. I started pulling away slowly. Less texts, less dinners, excuses about rotations. He didn't fight it, but he didn't disappear either. Until one night he knocked on my door. "I replaced your kitchen valve." I nodded. "Thanks." He waited. "That all you want to say?" "Mason, I get it. You think I'm just a guy with a wrench and a tragic backstory. And maybe you're right. But I showed up. Every damn time, I showed up." He turned to go, and I let him walk. That night, I stood in my silent kitchen, the pipe fixed but my heart wrecked. I realized something terrifying. I missed him more than I was afraid of losing him. 3 days later, I showed up at his apartment. He didn't answer the door, but I could hear movement inside. "Mason," I called, voice shaking. "I don't know what I'm doing, okay? I'm not used to people staying. I'm used to sleeping in supply closets and drinking coffee like it's water. I'm used to watching people die no matter how hard I try. But you, God, you made it all feel real again." Silence. Then the door opened. He stood there, shirt wrinkled, eyes tired. "I make too much spaghetti again." I exhaled, choked a laugh. "Guess I'll help you finish it." He didn't smile. He just pulled me inside and closed the door behind us. Months passed. We found a rhythm. Breakfasts at 2 p.m. on my days off. Quiet hand-holding on the fire escape. Lazy Sunday mornings where neither of us said much because we didn't have to. I kept waiting for the world to fall apart again. But instead, it softened. Not perfectly. Not easily. Some nights I woke up panicked. Dreams of the ER haunting me. Some days, he slipped into silence for hours, lost in whatever past he didn't always share. But we stayed. We chose each other again and again. And slowly, that sincerity, the steady kind, not the dramatic gestures, saved us both. One night, I came home early. The apartment smelled like garlic and basil. Mason stood in the kitchen, apron tied terribly, spaghetti sauce splattered on the counter. He turned and said, "You're home early. I missed you." He blinked. "You just saw me this morning. Still missed you." He stared. Then, slowly, he crossed the space between us, wrapped his arms around my waist and said, "I'm not going anywhere." I smiled into his shoulder, whispering, "Neither am I." And for the first time in years, I believed it. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated with the latest videos.